Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Faizan Mahmood and I'm your host. Welcome to Youth Challenges. Alhamdulillah, every week we have a guest with us in the studio and we always benefit from our guest because our guest is learned and they have experience. We always tailor our show to the youth. So we bring to you another topic which is very relevant to the youth of today and the climate in which we live in. But before we go into this topic, I'd like you all to welcome our esteemed guest, Maulana Amar Kareem Saib. Maulana Saab, thank you very much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Maulana Saab, it's always an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. You always provide us with such valuable insight, which the youth benefit from a great deal. Especially over the recent years where we've been doing this show, I receive a lot of positive feedback from a lot of youngsters explaining how topics that we've discussed are very relevant to their day in, day out situations and how it affects their everyday life. This topic is one which is just as such, which is very relevant to the youth of today. In fact, a reason why I particularly like this topic is because it's relevant to everyone, to our entire Muslim ummah, whether that be the brothers, the sisters, our youth, our elders. And this issue, we call it an issue, is behavior of snobbery.
Mm-hmm.
And often you hear the word that, you are behaving like a snob, or this person is behaving like a snob.
Yeah.
And often this word itself is not understood. But we'll go into that definitely. We'll discuss exactly what this means.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the topic today focuses on.
All right.
What is a snob and what are the negative implications this can have on one person's life and what Islam says about this in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So Maulana Saab, let's start by defining what is snobbery. What do we mean when we say snobbery?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Faizan, actually snobbery means you feel you are a special person and you behave like you belong to an elite class. And from your behavior, your speech, or your wearing, or your actions, that shows that you are something. So scholars, they are of the opinion, if you look at the Islamic scholars, they say that it is very close to takabbur, arrogance. So it is a mixed one because in English culture, we use the word snob. You are a snobbish person. If a person feels that I'm having a blue blood, or I belong to some, the elite class or favored class. So it is called the snobbery if a person has.
Definitely. Okay, so Maulana, from that I understand that a snobbery, it's essentially where one person believes that they are better than someone else.
Yeah.
Where they believe that they have qualities which are above someone else, or maybe they have money or status, or they come from a certain family. So these kind of things where it leads someone to believe that they're better than everyone else. This is what we're referring to when we say snobbery. Brilliant. So Maulana, could you give us some examples as to what is considered as snobbish behavior?
I would like to catch the attraction of the other people. If a person having this, the feeling of snobbery, so what he gonna do wherever he goes, that so he feels like the people will look at him. So he show himself by having a brands, while that we are people, they buy the brands. I'm not criticizing anyone. Maybe sometimes the what the brand we are looking for, what we are using it, they are the useful for us, but most of the time we buy things to show the people.
Yes.
To show the people and show that I belong to a certain class. By wearing, by attitude, sometimes your accent, how you talk, how you behave. A person sees, oh, this is the elite class, they have the certain traits of the elite class. So the person start adopting those traits. So people can easily identify, oh, this is the one who belongs to a certain class.
Okay, so these are some good examples. And also, I think that really leads me to say that this is what makes this topic really good and really interesting, because in this day and age, especially with social media, it's becoming a trend where people base their life activities, their behavior, they base it off what they see on social media to make themselves appear a certain way. Now, one thing you pointed out, which I think I should highlight, is, wearing branded clothing or driving particular cars or talking a certain way, it there is nothing inherently wrong with these things, but it's when you believe that it makes you better than someone else is what we are targeting here, is what we are referring to. And also in this day and age, I think it's very, very popular, especially the youngsters. You'll see them walking around in designer top to toe, shoes, watches, clothes, and often you ask yourself, you know, how is it that a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old are affording these kind of particular clothing or attire, and what is it they're trying to achieve? They're trying to sell the impression to people that they're above everyone else, perhaps because they've got more money or because they've got more style, and this then gets to their ego and makes them arrogant. So Maulana Sahab, discussing, I briefly mentioned social media, but I think what I want to ask you, which I generally ask quite often to you as well, is we always want to see what are the causes of a particular problem or an illness, and snobbery in many ways is an illness. So what are the causes? Why do people become snobbish? What causes this to happen?
Yeah, definitely it is an illness. You use the word illness, it is a very perfect word. It is a spiritual illness. The person has this illness in his heart, and he has the superiority complex. It is very much opposite of the Islamic teaching. So when you are away from the Islam, how much you are away from the Islam, you become more and more victim of this sort of feelings. I'm a superior. Because Islam tells us something that is totally opposite to us. So Islam says that we create you from one person. Ya ayyuhan nasu inna khalaqnakum min zakarin wa unsa wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu inna akramakum indallahi wa atqakum. O people, we created you from one man and one woman, then drive you in the different clans and tribes just for your identification. It is not a tafakhur. Oh, this is a yellow race, this is a white race, this is this one. No, this is not a tafakhur. It is our identification. You identify me. The person who is the close in the eyes of Allah, the person who is a more muttaqi, God-fearing. So in Islam, the superiority, the person who will give the respect to the person in our society, the person who has a more God-fearing, the person who more follows the principles of Islam. But unfortunately, last 100 years, this is the age of materialism. So now our norms are totally changed, and people give the respect of things. If you have an expensive watch, if you have expensive clothing, so I give you respect. Before that, we give the respect to scholars. Before that, we give the respect to the religious persons. But now the things are different. When things are different, and youth is directed by, look at that, oh, everyone gives us so much attention. In our family, this person, nobody knows, this one is earning halal or haram. What is the no? They say, oh, he has this one, this car. Because of that, they give the, so much respect. Why not I'm doing that one? I become special. So these are the reasons we are doing it, and we are away from the Islamic teachings. That's the basic reason of that.
Definitely, Maulana Sahab. And these are some of the main causes. And from that, what I understand is, it seems that it's almost full circle. So it's the cause of it, but it's also the result of it. So in many ways, because people are giving respect and showing admiration towards other people who are snobbish, who own materialistic things, that then promotes this snobbish behavior.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that makes the people who are respecting it also adopt the view that this is what I should be doing as well. So in many ways, not only is it an issue with personality, it's also a problem in that it distracts you from your deen.
Yeah.
You're focusing on things which are not necessarily important. Now,
and it is the matter of the whole society. It is not the matter of one person. It is a circle, and it is a vicious circle. Start from the one side, and the whole society then involved in it. Because nobody is condemning that. For example, if you have this one, oh, I don't care about it, okay. It is very good, mashallah, I give the tarif, okay, alhamdulillah. But if I impress and talk in a town, oh, look at that, he has this one. So then it becomes like a fashion. And the last 20 years or 30 years, fashion industry, brand things become so much in a market.
Yes.
And now, what happened? The people, those who are the money, they start making a money. They exploit the feelings of people. They get the more and more new things in a market.
Definitely, and that's how it works. And I think one of the main ways that these product endorsers and companies do that is by using social media as well. Now, throughout our show, we've spoken about many issues. We've spoken about social media a number of times because it is genuinely one of the biggest causes for a lot of issues that we have today. And even with regards to materialism, we have celebrities all over social media who are advertising, promoting this lifestyle. Rap music, for example, especially music, you know, you hear quotes such as, I've got Rollie on my wrist, which is a Rolex on his wrist, and he's promoting that this is how rich he is and the lifestyle he's living. And that kind of leads youngsters to want to adopt that lifestyle and become that person who has these things, and other people look at him and think, you know what, I'd like that. And that's what then leads them to believe that they're better than someone else. So definitely this is a very big distraction from what is important. And I've always liked to believe that you should respect everyone, and our deen tells us that everyone is equal. But at the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed or has chosen, I like to believe, a certain number of people who dedicate their life to the deen, more so than others do. And their ilm and their knowledge is much more in depth than ordinary people who don't perhaps put that time into their religion and study it. And respect is more suitable in that scenario, where now yourself, for example, mashallah, you have so much ilm. Me sitting with you, me hosting this show, you coming on as a guest, every single time this happens, I learn something new. And that makes me want to respect you further, because I'm gaining something which is going to help me in my akhirah. If, for example, I had someone else here who came in absolute designer and spoke to me about materialistic things for an hour, I've not made any gain from this. Maybe there is a disease in my heart which will look at this person and say, well, you know, I'd like that too. Again, that's distracting me. But when you're talking about the deen, I'm gaining from it. And I think this is where the issue is, because there is a big distraction by materialism and by snobbish attitudes and behaviors.
First of all, you have very good, the assumption regarding me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you barakah and blessings. Important thing is your purity of heart. And this snobbish behavior is totally opposite. Erode your purity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves purity. Ikhlas. So you know what happened? Then you start looking at, you start living a shallow life. Purity gone. So when purity gone, the purity gone for everything.
Yeah.
Even in ibadah, when you are doing ibadah, for example, in sacrifice, now in the Eid al-Adha come, now another race starts. Who get this one, the big cow, this one, this, because we are a snobbish people.
Yeah.
If we don't have this disease, you know what happened? We are more humble servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more better. But you know what happened? Now we live a life for the sake of people. And it is not much dangerous, but you know what happened? The youth, they are very, you may say that, take the effect very quickly. And they quite impressed with the other people very quickly. So nowadays, social media, with the help of social media, this thing is bombarded on the heads of the youngster, and they give a major diversion, not only for the diversion in deen, diversion in their education, diversion in their career. So because all their energies is to impress the other one, to buy this one, to this one, and they have millions of thoughts in their mind. So it is a very bad thing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save.
Definitely, and may Allah protect everyone from it. This leads me to move on to the next element of our discussion, Maulana. Ties back in with the element of the points you raised with regards to community. Now, community is a big cause of the problem. And in this country, it is definitely an issue. However, it's all over the world. I quite frequently go to Pakistan as well. And what I find there is, there are certain titles awarded to people for different things. For example, if someone owns a big car, big Land Cruiser or a Prado or whatever, that person is no longer called by the name. Maybe his name is, Suleiman, whatever his name might be. All of a sudden, they call him by a different name, by a title which they've given him because he owns this materialistic thing.
That's right.
And this comes to show communities' perception, their belief. Not only does that person then believe that he's better than everyone else, the community is promoting that agenda. It's pumping this person's ego by calling him a particular name, by making him think he is more important than everyone else because he owns now this materialistic thing. So definitely community is a big cause of the problem. What I wanted to ask you, Maulana Sahab, is how can community and family prevent this kind of belief from being adopted by individuals?
The first thing is Islamic teaching. How much we have Islamic teaching, we're close to Islam and learn the values of Islam, so we will be away from all those things, khurafat, maybe we say other words, right? So, when you learn deen, when you know that, and then automatically the worldly things, purification of heart. What is a tazkiyah of qalb? Purification of heart is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dwell in your heart. Al-qalbu haram Allah. This is the dwelling of Allah. So, la tuskinu ghayrullah. Nothing would be living here in your heart. So when the other things becomes less important in your eyes, so you will not give the importance. So, as a whole, as a family, in a family, your head of the family is very important. If your head of the family is a learner person, is the head of the family, and so he can, guide the children on a right way. Tell them that, by reading the books, by giving the the knowledge of Islam, we can tell our children, okay, those are the personalities. Like if we have a love of Sahaba Ikram, love of those who are the close to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, automatically our children's the attention is towards those pious people. On other side, if we are not putting the energies of our children of the learning of the Deen, automatically they start looking at the society, what is a trend in a society, and they will automatically become the victim of the society. So as an individually in our house, we have to, and I personally know some families, for example, in a families, they're sitting in a dining table, so they share some hadiths regarding purity of heart, regarding of the, this dunya is nothing for in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this sort of a hadith, this sort of, the talking, the fed of the family. So that give lots of lesson in the children. Important thing is how close the family members are each other. So if we have no closeness, and now my child is going anywhere, I don't know that. So he is exposed with those material, automatically he's impressed with that.
Definitely, and especially with regards to children, or youth especially, how I like to see it is a youngster is like an empty glass. And you can pour in it, orange juice, apple juice, Coke, whatever you want to pour in it, you can pour in it. And what you put in it which is harmful will remain with them. What you put which is impure will stay with them. So it's always up to the parents and the senior members of community and senior members of family that can assist in making sure that whatever you're putting in that glass is healthy. It's proposed to
your
deen.
Personal character is very important. For example, if I teach my son, says that, okay, you always speak truth. But whenever my child witness that, I'm telling lies, I'm, concealing my, the other benefits, I'm making some dodge to the government, so automatically he will not have this one. So if I have this character, sound character, I don't care about if anybody has the branded cloth or not in my family. That goes to my children. But if I am myself is in that, so how can I teach my children?
Definitely, Maulana Sahab, and that's a very good point. And on that point, we're going to take a short break to give our viewers some time to reflect on the conversation that we've had and to give ourselves a little break for water. So, dear viewers, please stay tuned in and we join you just after a short break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.